So hey guys, that's my little Ghostbusters toy that I got from Target a while ago. This was for the classic Ghostbusters films. This is the old logo with the little squeeze feature on there that sings. Um, but for this video today, guys, I'm going to be talking about the new Ghostbusters film, the supposedly third Ghostbusters film we were originally going to get. Turns out we got more so a reboot this time, and I'm going to review it for you today. So in this movie, you guys, it centers around a amateur paranormal writer who is kind of embarrassed about this book that she wrote a while ago with a friend of hers, and it gets into the wrong hands. The wrong people get a hold of it. They think that she's this big paranormal enthusiast that knows a lot about ghosts, and she gets asked to be able to take on this case that involves a new ghost that was discovered at a museum that got really bad, and that was starting to scare away the tourists and the tour guides themselves. And so she looks at it and is not very comfortable taking it on herself. So she gets the help of these friends of hers that are very much involved with science. And they have to figure out a way how to get rid of not only this ghost, but all these other ghosts that are now happening within New York City. Obviously, since this is a reboot, the old Ghostbusters team is not around. They don't exist anymore in this universe. And these new Ghostbusters had to figure out how to do it themselves. They had to figure out, what kind of devices they can use and what strategies they can use to get rid of these ghosts once and for all. So overall, guys, I really did not like this new Ghostbusters film. I was really hoping that Ivan Reitman, who directed the first two Ghostbusters films, was going to come back to do a third one. We didn't get that. We got a reboot instead by a different director. Though Ivan Reitman was involved as a producer of this film, I really wish his special touch was still around for this new movie, and unfortunately it's not. But for my positives and negatives of this movie, Kristin Wiig's character I thought was very interesting. I thought it was a very interesting character, interesting way to have like a leader of the team that's kind of the Bill Murray figure of this new team. I liked her character. I liked her background. Funny in certain parts, not really in others. But I liked the character that she played in this movie. Also, the other surprising performance in this film was Chris Hemsworth. He plays the kind of the new receptionist, the new secretary of the team. And I like the running jokes of how attractive he is and how the Kristen Wiig character is very making sure he doesn't get hurt and all this other stuff. And speaking of the two of them, I really like their chemistry that they had whenever the two of them shared a scene together. Very funny, very cutesy. So I liked the humorous performance that Chris Hemsworth played. He's just not very smart, very much a dumb character, but it was dumb in the appropriate way, in a very fun way. Just really liked his character overall. So very humorous performance from him. The opening of this film I thought was also very nostalgic. It was very in the spirit of the original Ghostbusters film, which I liked a lot. So I liked that nostalgic feel that opening was able to maintain for this movie. Another thing I noticed about the film, and obviously I'll get into my negatives in just a moment, but the set of this film felt very fun. I can tell that a lot of these people seem to have fun while making the movie. That doesn't automatically make it a good movie as a result, but I could tell that specifically the Lady Ghostbusters, the team, the actual team of the Ghostbusters, seemed to have a lot of fun with the movie. So it seemed like a fun film set to be on, but like I said, it doesn't exactly make it a good film right away, but it seemed like a fun set to be on as far as a film production goes. There's also some occasional neat cameos in the film. Don't want to spoil them, but I do think Dan Aykroyd and Ernie Hudson probably had the more fun cameos for me anyway. Some other people not so much from the original cast of the first Ghostbusters, but they all have cameos in the film, and they're pretty fun and neat and funny. So I liked the occasional cameo from the original cast that we had every once in a while in the movie. For my negatives of this film I thought had a terrible script. I really did not like the script for this film. It really was not that funny. Besides the Chris Hemsworth and the Kristen Wiig moments, almost every scene that was meant to be funny fell flat for me. Just not a good script, not very fun. It just really did not maintain that spirit that the first two Ghostbusters film had. Really did not care for the script for this movie. And that goes to my next point. It's just really not a very funny movie. There's just not a lot of jokes. And when there are good jokes, they're very far and in between. There's just not enough of them. As far as humor goes, was really not impressed with that in this movie. This film also has a very awful third act. It's all over the place. The action is not very well filmed. The CGI is, quite honestly, really not that good. So the third act of this film, was really not impressed with it. Not a good third act for a movie. I also don't like the new Ghostbusters theme song. It felt very rapish. It felt very too modern. It just felt very. It felt like something that someone put together over the course of a day, really. It really didn't feel like there was a lot of imagination or inspiration that went into that new Ghostbusters theme song. Did not like it. I also don't like the villain of the film. Very one-dimensional motivations. Could not get into the character. For the form he takes on towards the end of the film, I don't want to spoil. If you've seen the trailer, you've kind of gotten a brief taste of what this villain becomes. But just a very one-dimensional, uninteresting, not very funny villain that really I did not like at all. I also don't like the neon color scheme that this film had whenever they have their packs on to go hunt down ghosts, and whenever they're at these like concerts and stuff. It's like a neon Joel Schumacher-ish color scheme that they use in this movie, and I just don't like it. It just did not fit a Ghostbusters film. I didn't like it. I did not like the color scheme of this film. I hated it. I also thought that there was too many cartoony and boring characters. Like I said, besides Kristen Wiig and besides Chris Hemsworth, everybody else felt really cartoony or very boring. I really didn't like a lot of the characters in this film. I also thought the story was very predictable and unoriginal. Just very uninspired. I can tell that they really did not want to take any risks with this film, and that's really too bad. I think if you really want to make Ghostbusters done the right way, you have to take on a story that's new and different. Take them on a third adventure that the first two Ghostbusters films haven't taken on with these characters yet, and obviously since they're new characters, take them on a new adventure. Take us on something different, something new. Don't retread the same movie and make it worse. Just very predictable, very unoriginal. I just didn't like this movie. So overall, guys, I'm going to give this movie a 3 out of 10. This new Ghostbusters film was just completely unnecessary. I really don't understand why they couldn't have just made a third Ghostbusters film with whatever cast was available to do it from the original movie. I still don't understand why Ivan Reitman didn't want to direct a third one. So 3 out of 10, really not a good film. I would just say skip this one, even if you're a Ghostbusters fan. Nothing really here too special to recommend here. So 3 out of 10, I can't recommend the new Ghostbusters.